oftentimes we say Black Lives Matter. If Black lives truly matter, then we need to put money in our community so that our children, our women, our men all have opportunities to work for ourselves, work with each other, hire each other, feed each other, support each other. Because I mean, at the end of the day, that's what helps to facilitate and protect Black life.
Welcome to Buy Black, the only podcast dedicated to helping you find, connect with, and support Black-owned businesses. We're on a mission to bring consumers and business owners together to ignite the global Black economy. I'm your host, Gerald Jones, and if you're a Black business owner or a socially conscious consumer, you've joined the right community. Ready? Let's get to work. Hello and welcome back to Buy Black, where every week we bring you a compelling interview with a Black business owner making a difference in the economy and the community. Today's episode is absolutely electric. I had a chance to catch up with Stefan Grant, the founder of Noirbnb, a brand new site dedicated to providing a safe place for people of color to book and enjoy world-class travel experiences using the sharing economy. Steph and I have been playing phone tag over the last couple of months, but we finally connected to do this interview. He let me know up front the time was tight, so we skipped the pre-interview discussion, went a little bit off the cuff, and jumped right into the show. The conversation and information he was sharing was so powerful that I decided not to edit anything. I cleaned up the audio for you, but other than that, you're going to hear everything on the call from pickup to hang up. The conversation ends up being about 45 minutes long, but believe me guys, it's worth sticking around to the end. With that said, I won't keep you waiting. Let's get to the show.
Hey, hello?
Hello. Hey, Steph?
Yeah, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. It's Gerald.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, I'm glad I finally got to catch up with you. It sounds like things have been really busy on your side.
Yeah, man, incredibly busy, and today's no different, man. No days off.
Wow. So, how much time have you got this morning?
I set aside a solid 30 minutes. So if we can make it happen in 30 minutes, that'd be optimal.
Okay. I'll try to make it tight. First question I'll have then before we get started, is there a particular thing that you want to accomplish with this conversation? Because I know I reached out to you, but this is promotion for you, and you guys are already pretty big. So is there something specific that you want to accomplish here?
I appreciate that, man. I'd say our main goal really is just to let people know that we're currently signing up hosts. So we're in beta. And we're currently signing up hosts and trying to get as many listings as possible. That's like the primary thing, just so we can have a solid amount of properties for people to actually book when we fully begin the booking process. Okay. And the next thing is, man, just letting people know that, after we kind of get things rolling, we're definitely seeking investment. So whether it be major venture capital investment or like even people, just regular people from the community, because we actually have a community investment fund that people can invest in and actually have equity in the company, because that's one of our goals as well. So primarily just letting people know they can sign up if they have properties, get them listed on the site. If they want to invest in the company, they can totally feel free to do that.
Okay, cool. For sure. We'll come back around to those two things about near the end, where I talk about upcoming promotions and events and what the community can do to help you accomplish your goals. But yeah, so since we are tight on time, man, I'll just let you jump into it. Basically, my Skype automatically records as soon as the conversation starts. So we're recording now. So I'll just hand it over to you, and if you can do me a favor and just start us off by talking about the business, just tell us the story of Noirbnb, and then we'll just start rolling.
All right, cool, perfect. So really, the way that Noirbnb started and even became a thing was in October 2015. I was in Atlanta for the A3C Music Festival. I was hosting an event, and we had rented out an Airbnb. And while we were there, it was really beautiful and a really nice place. But while we were there, the next door neighbors saw a bunch of Black people in the house, and for whatever reason, they assumed that we were robbing the place. So they called the police on us. 2 police officers showed up. They had their guns drawn, literally pointed at our faces, and we were like, "Hey, what's going on here?" So my whole thing is really just to really just to make positive outcomes as best as I can, no matter what kind of situation I'm in or what kind of circumstance that I'm in, right? So immediately as things got kind of crazy, I knew that, well, one, we're here legally, right? So there shouldn't be any reason to trip in that regard. So we just made sure that we kind of got the paperwork together.
Right,
but while
right.
everything was kind of going on, I asked one of the police officers, I was like, hey, like, is it okay if I Snapchat this? And the officer was like, yeah, as long as you get my good side. So I was like, okay, cool. So I started kind of Snapchatting the whole thing and kind of documenting it that way. He's getting it on video, talking about the whole thing. And I was also kind of a protective measure as well, because I mean, you want to make sure that you have a good amount of footage on deck to record what's happening, so that I mean, people can't really twist the story. Mm-hmm. So we had done that, and while the officers kind of checked everything out, we showed them the paperwork. They figured out that everything was legitimate, and they were about to leave. But before they left, I said, hey, like, before you guys leave, like would it be okay to get a selfie with you guys? And the cop said, yeah, sure. So me and my friend Zali took this photo with the two police officers, all four of us smiling ear to ear, and got the photo. Those guys left, and like immediately after that, I went on Twitter and I posted the photo, and I said, yo, the Airbnb we're staying at is so nice. The next door neighbors thought we were robbing the place and called the cops, right?
Oh, wow.
So I just put it up and not really thinking, like, we put it up and immediately started like making breakfast and stuff like that. And then I got a text from one of my friends. It was like, hey, like that pic you just posted, like you know it's about to go viral, right? And I was like, I mean, maybe, because I mean, I posted stuff online before it's kind of gone viral and done a lot of marketing and stuff that way. So I was like, hey, I mean, if it happens, it happens. But then sure enough, I think I opened my Twitter app maybe like a couple of minutes later, and the response was ridiculous. I mean, a lot of people really couldn't believe it. So things kind of blew up, and we got a lot of outreach from media personalities, not even media personalities, more so like publications like BuzzFeed and Vox, and a lot of people have reached out to us just trying to get the story of what was going on. So like we kind of told them and kind of gave them the breakdown, and then things got so big that eventually Airbnb started reaching out to us, right? And their initial thing was that they wanted to provide like some vouchers and discounts for future stays and stuff like that. But we kind of realized that, I mean, this is a bit of a bigger situation than that,
this
right?
is way bigger than just, sweep it under the rug.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was kind of their primary goal, just to kind of like just like have the story kind of bubble over and just let it like go away on its own. But like kind of what I realized, I mean, and a lot of the responses from people were like, hey guys, like I'm just glad you guys are alive. I'm glad you guys are safe, and like this is kind of at the height of a lot of just, I mean, although things like this never really slow down or stop. I mean, the media maybe start talking about it less, but this is at the height of the media just discussing a lot of the just racial violence of police against unarmed black men and stuff like that. So like we were kind of in the heat of that, right? Mm-hmm. And even thinking about that, my goal was to kind of although like there's no way to really put a positive spin on that, I still wanted to kind of at least shine a positive light, like, hey, look, like we're some young black people. We made it. We survived this crazy, potentially dangerous situation, and I kind of wanted to unify initially. Like that was my goal, and usually, and actually, pretty much always is, right. So, kind of the responses that I saw from people while everything was kind of going on was, wow, like some of them were either like, one, they had never even heard of Airbnb before, or two, they were like, man, this is crazy. I'm never using Airbnb again. And or just had no idea what the entire home sharing model or platform was. So what we kind of realized is that, one, what happened to us wasn't necessarily an isolated case. Stuff like that had happened before, and we knew that it would definitely happen again. And then two, I'm a person who I just always want people to travel, especially people from the Black community, African American community, and the diaspora overall. I really want us to travel and go see the world and kind of broaden our horizons. So I said, you know what? Hey, well, if Airbnb has this issue, what if I can come up with an idea to build something within their company to help solve that issue and kind of focus on the African American community, the Black traveler, and travelers of color and people of color, right? So I was trying to think of the best way to kind of implement that, and then the name just hit me. I was like, well, hey, Noirbnb, it just makes sense, right? So we kind of come up with a pitch, a brief little pitch deck, and we got in contact with somebody who worked in Airbnb. I think they were like in recruiting or marketing or something like that. And it kind of gave them a breakdown of what we were trying to do. And they kind of liked what they heard. They sent it to some of the higher ups in the company, and they kind of liked the idea as well. In addition to the fact that I think they just wanted to kind of get the PR story kind of over with. So they ended up flying us to San Francisco to their headquarters. We had a meeting with them, kind of gave them the full pitch. But this is maybe like 3 weeks to a month after the initial situation. I think the media buzz had kind of died down by then, and they were like, well, guys, this sounds cool. but we don't really want to segment our market and stuff like that. So we were like, okay, cool, I guess. But I mean, but what we let them know, we're like, look, what happened to us isn't a unique, isolated case. It will happen again, and it may happen even in bigger and potentially more dangerous ways, right?
Right.
And they were like, well, hey, I guess we'll just kind of figure it out. And they wanted to make us ambassadors for the company, which kind of sounds cool, but I'm not really here to be anybody's. I mean, for a lack of a better term, I don't want to be anybody's porch monkey. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
yeah. So our goal was to really just build a partnership and see how we could like really focus on our market. And we kind of maintained communication with them for a few months, and different things would arise, whether it be the Airbnb while black hashtag taking off, other incidents of race, Harvard coming out with a study saying that like racism is actually a major problem on the Airbnb platform. So we told them, like, look, guys, like time and time again, we kind of told you, like, how can we make this happen? And they were just like, well, we're going to make a statement and really just kind of focus on more so the PR aspect and more so the problem solving aspect. So after a while, I kind of realized, like, you know what? Well, look, they're not going to be proactive about it. They're not going to help solve the problem. It only makes sense for us to kind of go out there and do it on our own. So that's when we ended up making the announcement and doing it on our own, and things kind of took off that way. And that's what kind of helped us get a lot of traction, a lot of growth, and have people really start caring about it and kind of believing in what we were trying to do.
Yeah. It sounds to me like you kind of try to take the Magic Johnson approach, right? Like he went to like Starbucks and he's trying to get them. It's like, hey, you need to focus on the black community. And It took him a few times to try to get them on board. And he said, all right, we'll go with it. And it sounds like Airbnb didn't go that direction.
Yeah, I don't even think they were really even trying to make that happen. Although we told them, we're like, look, guys, like this is something that you guys probably will want to focus on and try to get ahead of the problem. And I think they were just very just kind of lackadaisical about it. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I love the initiative to do that, because that's one of those things. If I see there's a problem in the market, and I mean, it's almost like you did the I'm looking for the word that I'm trying to find here, but basically you were trying to help somebody else solve their problem instead of going out to solve it yourself. And it's like, you're not even going to solve the problem in the market. All right, I'll create my own thing.
Exactly. Precisely, man. Precisely.
So how, I looked at your website, and as I was reading, I found that part where it was talking about the Green Book. I had never heard of that before. Can you tell me how Noirbnb kind of parallels with and is an evolution of this, Green Book that was put together back in the 30s?
Yeah. Oh man. So the Green Book is actually something that I learned about in high school during my African American literature class, and I'd actually never even heard about it before that time. And essentially, the Green Book was I mean, in it, for lack of better words, kind of like a physical database of just different black businesses and black friendly businesses, like whether it be businesses or hotels, motels, gas stations, places that you can get foods, or restaurants, diners, and places like that, where African Americans who are traveling around the country or going on road trips or whatever could find safe lodging and safe places to eat and safe places to get gas, and not really worry about being attacked or potentially lynched while they were out on the road. 'Cause, I mean, just traveling as a black person in maybe before the 70s, for real, was actually a pretty dangerous and risky thing to do, right? Like just taking a family on a trip or going to a family reunion, like, with a potentially life-ending situation, right? So the founder of the Green Book created the Green Book to essentially list places across the country and eventually across the world where African Americans could go, travel, feel comfortable, and feel safe, right? So initially, when I came up with the idea for the company, I hadn't even thought about the Green Book until somebody actually mentioned it. Was like, hey, this is actually like pretty much a modern Green Book, and I was like, wow, it really, really is, right? So essentially, our goal, and just kind of in the beginning of it, is really just to find safe places for African Americans, to safe for like people who are not only just African American but who are friendly and just not discriminatory and not racist, for lack of a better word, to kind of open their doors and welcome African Americans and black travelers and people of color in general into their homes. Eventually, what we'd like to do is connect black businesses and other black people, other people providing services and products toward our community. But as of right now, just finding a safe place and a comfortable place for black people to stay is definitely what our mission is right now.
Right. So you told me earlier that right now you guys are in beta. and you're looking to expand your database of hosts, because obviously it doesn't make sense to have a lot of folks coming on a book if you don't have hosts on there.
Yeah.
So my question for you is, how are you guys verifying the safety for your travelers, right? When you have hosts come on, how are you going to vet them? And then also, how are you going to monitor and make sure that when people go out and travel, they're having that safe experience?
Yeah. So part of our verification process now is to one, I mean, I know some companies have kind of spoken about like doing away with profile photos and stuff like that. And that's not really our goal, but like we want to make sure that people like one, you're knowing who you're staying with. And then two, one of the main words that drives our company is community, right? So we want to make sure that we're creating a community of people who are open, welcoming, diverse, and just open people, right? And kind of in that same vein, we have a couple of verification processes, like whether it be like email verification, phone number verification, so that we know okay, like you are who you say you are, but also like it's like Nike, right? Like if you want to buy clothing that's gonna be for athletics or working out, I'm gonna go to Nike, I'm gonna go to Adidas or something like that. With us, when people hear the name, many people already kind of know the mission and know what we were kind of born out of. And the beauty of it is that people who've already signed up on Airbnb and are like actual hosted on there are like, you know what, I've been using Airbnb for years and I've been hearing about this issue for a really long time. And I'm really sick of it, and I'm sad, and I'm kind of like angry to keep hearing about it. So what I want to do is, and this is kind of what they're saying, like they're saying they want to support us and join us and be part of our company because they want to help kind of fight that discrimination and join a community of people who are more welcoming and more safe and more open. So I mean, it's actually kind of cut our job in half, although it still hasn't, because I mean, like we're still very busy, still very active every day. But I mean. But we have a variety of features that we've kind of implemented and planning to roll out in the future when we actually get to our full platform to make the experience that much more safer and that much more better and more comfortable for travelers.
That sounds great, man. So I gotta jump in real quick with the devil's advocate, right? Because I know this is gonna come, because I've had it myself. Starting this By Black podcast, I've had a lot of support from all different sides and colors, but I've had people say, why are you trying to set up something just for black people? If I said, buy white, or if I said, white B&B, then I'd be called a racist. So What's any different about you trying to exclude people than me trying to exclude people?
No, I mean, it's so funny. Somebody actually wrote to us recently. I mean, we've gotten the white B&B thing before as of maybe 3-4 days ago. But the funny thing about it is that, and I think it's an overall mentality, right? That people seem to just not understand or just not fully pay attention to, right? But most of the companies that are in current existence were started by white guys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like by nature, right? I think everybody kind of assumes, okay, cool, a white guy started it, so that means that pretty much white people can use it, but also anybody can use it, right? I mean, nobody looks at Apple as a white company. Nobody looks at Nike as a white company, but these companies were started by white people. You know what I mean? So I think the misconception is that with us, I mean, and the funny part about it is that with us, we're not really excluding anyone. I mean, like we wouldn't want to go from one platform that discriminates to essentially being another platform that discriminates. I mean, that would kind of defeat our entire mission, right? So people ask us all the time, even friends of mine are like, hey, I'm white, can I use Noirbnb? And I'm like, of course you can, because our goal is to really be an open, welcoming, and really more diverse and just awesome community. That's our number one goal. Of course, it's Noirbnb. Noir means black. We're focused on the black traveler, the black community, and people of color. That's our mission first and foremost. But I mean, just being a black person and being a part of the black community my entire life, one thing that I do know is that we're very welcoming and very, very, very personable and empathetic people, and we relate to others all the time, right? But I think the issue comes in now, whereas when a black person begins taking control of their destiny, but also focusing on directly benefiting their community, it makes others uncomfortable because, hey, why should you guys be trying to do better for yourselves? And it's like, you know what, there's kind of a contradiction there, because I mean, you'll often hear a lot of racist people say, well, black folks should just pull themselves up by the bootstraps, but
take care of themselves, right? Oh my God, that frustrates me so much. I'm like, I'm trying to do that. That's exactly what I'm doing here, and you're calling me a racist. Tell me which
Exactly.
one is it that you want? Do you want
And
me to help my people, or do you want me to come and beg you for your help? I'm sick
and
of begging you. We're going to
and
do it ourselves.
exactly. And that's my whole thing. I'm like, look, I'm not gonna beg you and ask you for help or whatever it's gonna be. Like we're gonna. This is the era of us taking control of our destiny. And the thing about it is, we've done it before in a variety of ways. And actually, we haven't even stopped doing it in a variety. I mean, hip hop in itself, right? Was born out of us doing for ourselves, speaking for ourselves, and providing opportunities for ourselves, right? So I mean, this I feel like is kind of in that very same vein. But you know, it's kind of like when you're part of a club and others feel like they can't be part of that club. It kind of makes them a bit angry and a bit anxious and stuff like that. And for real, I mean, it just is what it is. My whole thing is like, look, like we get hit up by so many trolls all the time, and my whole thing is I'm like, you know what? I don't even respond to them. I completely ignore them because at the end of the day, it's like Jay-Z said, right? He was not real to me, doesn't exist. So vamoose. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, man, I'm not gonna waste any of my energy responding to them or even focusing on them because at the end of the day, I'm building a platform built around our community, solving our problems and benefiting us. And at the same time, it's gonna be a very beautiful thing for others as well. But the primary focus is creating something where we can feel safe and feel comfortable and feel at peace traveling and meeting new people and really, really seeing the world. So I'm not worried about anybody who's mad about it or who feels way about it. Because I mean, if they don't get it, they don't get it, and they probably never will get it. So that's
Yeah.
just what it is.
And the other thing that comes with that, I think, is that when you do know your market, when you actually have the guts to niche down and be open about this is who my target audience is, what ends up happening is that the folks who you're really trying to talk to, they're going to respond because they say this is for me. And
Yeah,
the
for
folks who
sure.
weren't going to be involved anyway, they're still not going to respond. So why be worried about them? But eventually,
Exactly.
once you get that traction, you're those other people are going to start coming along because then you get
Yep.
that crowd effect and everybody starts to realize this is for me too, even though they may not be
Exactly.
speaking directly to me. That's exactly what I want to do with Buy Black as well. Like I'm focused on the black business owner, but on the consumer side, everybody's dollars are green.
Yeah.
And every one of those
Exactly.
green dollars is going to come in and that's going to help build up our community, which gets us exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah.
When we start owning our own things, we see less violence in our communities. We see less
Period.
hopelessness in our communities. We see more growth. And now everybody is benefiting by investing themselves in the black community. And it's no longer asking, hey, invest in us by donating. It's invest in us by buying quality goods and services from
Yes.
us the same way
Yes.
you would anywhere else so that we can all grow. I'm right
Exactly.
there with you.
Precisely. And for real, I mean, like that's one of my driving missions is in a sense of like, you know what, like it's time for us to not only build up ourselves, but I mean, like you said, providing those great products, services, and platforms where anybody of any walk of life can actually benefit and get value from it while also helping to enrich our community. And I feel like for so many years, what we've done as a community is enrich others. And those people have never really given back. They've taken our money and gone to build generational wealth for themselves while we have almost been left holding the bag for lack of a better term. But so I think it's time to kind of reverse that polarity and be the people who are providing great, awesome products and services and also benefiting from that and enriching ourselves and building generational wealth for our own community. So for sure, that's my goal.
Absolutely. Let me turn the corner real quick. I want to come around to your marketing strategy. I think I read that a little bit in your background. You've obviously got a musical background, a promotional background, event planning, things like that. The way that you marketed this this company and all the way up to this beta launch has been incredible. I mean, I've talked to people. I've told them, hey, I'm going to be talking to Stefan Grant, the guy behind Noirbnb, and very rarely do I come across somebody who hasn't heard of you, even before the launch. I mean, those kind of marketing shops are incredible. I'd love to know, and for people in the audience to be able to know, like, how do you do that? What was the strategy about creating so much buzz ahead of time? And are there any specific things that other entrepreneurs can do to set themselves up to have that kind of a buzz leading up to a launch?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, man, I think the most, and this is going to sound very cliche, but I think the most important thing is to really be authentic and be genuine, right? And have an authentic voice behind what you're doing. Because I think that's really been one of the most pivotal things in helping our growth, right? Because I mean, even as far as the Twitter and the Facebook and the customer service stuff, I really handled the majority of that, right? So in the beginning, when we made our announcement and the Twitter buzz and the Facebook buzz was all taken off, I wanted to make sure that I was engaging with users and engaging with anybody who reached out to us and wrote to us, because I mean, at the end of the day, not only every user or potential customer, every person who is interacting with your brand is very important, right? So one, I think it's about being authentic, being genuine, and having a genuine voice. And then the second thing really is all about consistency, right? Like, man, like it doesn't really matter what I'm doing, where I am, what's happening. If somebody writes to us on Twitter or via our or sends us an email via our info email, or hits us up on Intercom, and Intercom is kind of our customer service tool on the website that people can sign up and kind of message us directly. Like, no matter when anybody messages us, if I'm awake and I see it, even if I'm not awake and I get awoken by it, I'm gonna make sure that I respond to them and talk to them and get with them. But also too, I think just having great design is very, very important. And I think that like the beauty of just, I mean, like not only the site design, but our social media design and stuff like that really helped us kind of get the point across. 'Cause, I mean, people are very visual, right? So we wanted to make sure that our brand looked like the caliber and the level of what we were trying to provide, right? So I think people really got attached and involved with that, as well as just, I mean, kind of like I said, just kind of seeing the authenticity behind the brand, but also too, I mean, so something that you mentioned earlier was really knowing your market, right? And you've been Black your entire life. I've been Black my entire life, right? And I think it's important for us to, I think where a lot of us lose it is that we try so hard to come off as quote unquote professional, and that quote unquote professional often comes off as us just trying to pretend to be white. And I hate to even say it like that, but I mean, like, that's the most layman's terms I can kind of break it down to. And the thing about it is we can be very professional while also being authentically ourselves, right? There is no either or divide between it. Because I mean, like being ourselves, and really, I think where being professional comes in is making sure that one, what you're providing and what you're doing is up to par, but also two, like, people love the fact that you're doing something great, but also that you're very personable and very what's the word? Very accessible, right?
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that we're always accessible and never trying to be above anybody, never trying to act bougie or whatever. Like we're always there, always caring, and I think that's what really helped us set us apart. And on top of that too, man, like, it's kind of about virality, right? When people see something that's needed and necessary, and also see this, like kind of see that, like, they can see themselves within it, I think they spread the message for you. And I got to give ultimate props to just the Black presence on the internet, whether it be Black Twitter, Black Facebook, Black Tumblr, the Black media, Black journalists. Like, they've been some of the biggest champions for us because they get it, they see it, and they know that it's real and coming from a very real place. So I think, man, just being real, being authentic, and being consistent are some of the most important keys in marketing and branding, man. And honestly too, having a very real story, man. Like your story and your experiences, they matter, right? And people can relate to them. Even if what happened to you didn't necessarily happen to them, they can relate to the fact that, okay, this is your story, this is where you're coming from, and you know what, I rock with it and I support that. And like, that's been one of our biggest strengths, man, for sure.
Yeah. Well, when your story is authentic, even if somebody hasn't experienced it,
Mm-hmm.
when they hear that, a lot of times there's this empathetic,
Yes.
This is how I would have felt if I was in that situation.
Yes, for sure.
How would I have handled that? Yeah. So real quick, the way you just described that authenticity and how to be professional while being yourself, the only thing that was going through my head the whole time was Barack Obama. I mean, that's it.
Man.
It's professional, it's articulate, but it's not trying to be something you're not. You're still walking through with that natural swag that we have.
That swag, yeah.
But man, you're also you're accessible, you're down to earth, but you're definitely, if you're the smartest guy in the room, everybody knows it, even though you're not trying to tell them. It's that kind of thing. Yeah. Yes. Real quick question. You said Intercom. Is that a tool that you guys use for your customer communication?
Yes, for sure. So if you go to Noirbnb.com, this is a user. What you might see is a green icon at the bottom right of your screen. what you can do there essentially is you can not only sign up to the site via intercom, but if you have any questions or concerns, or you're having any issues, any technical issues on the site, you can sign up there and message us directly. Either myself or our customer service team is always on hand to respond and help people out on the site. So that's our customer service tool.
Awesome. Okay. Rolling into the last section of this, because I know we're pushing up against the line. The next thing I want to ask is for you. What's the biggest challenge that you've had in trying to get this thing rolling, and how have you guys overcome that moving towards this launch?
Oh man, I think there are really two major challenges, right? The first thing is engineering and development, right? So when you're building a platform of this magnitude, and especially what we're trying to build over the next couple of months and bring out to the public, I think people often don't realize just how big of an undertaking that is, and just the scope of development, right? So I mean, like when people jump on Facebook or they jump on Twitter, people think, okay, cool, it's Facebook, it's Twitter, I'm logging in, I'm signing and I'm tweeting and whatever, or posting a status and whatever, or even just going on a site, hey, I'm signing up and whatever. But people don't realize the amount of pages that you're going through, the amount of design and development and engineering that go into all that stuff, and the cost that goes into that type of stuff, and the type of team that you need to have on hand to even build what you're trying to build, right? So engineering has definitely been a major challenge, but it's also been beautiful because I mean it's helped us kind of really map out exactly what we want to do, how we want to do it, when we want to roll it out, and the best way. And not only that, also too, the user experience, right? Because I mean, if people can get on your site, they like the way it looks, they like the way it functions, then they'll be more likely to stay on your site and utilize your site and spread the word about it, right? So we wanted to make sure that even in our beta platform that we kind of got it as close to the way we wanted it as possible. And really, like this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg for what we really want to bring. I mean, like when we actually roll out the full product, it's going to be even more awesome, even more powerful, and even more just immersive and great. But I mean, I'd say that's the first challenge, and the second major challenge has really been just really just finding investment. Well, I shouldn't even say finding investment, because people really want to invest in the company that like they believe in the mission, believe in the vision, and like understand what we're trying to do. But for the most part, like what we've kind of been doing is really funding it ourselves, right? So, I mean, me, my co-founder G-Day have really been putting a lot of money and funding into this. Our wives, our family, our friends, and just the community of people around us who kind of believe in the vision, like they've been really helping us kind of push forward and even just get to this point and just moving forward, right? So I say the two biggest challenges are really just engineering, development, and finances, man, just investing. So right. Yeah.
You said earlier that you guys were looking to get investors. So real quick question, have you thought about doing any type of crowdfunding campaign?
So we kind of have, but at the same time, that's also like there are so many different legal things around that. So like I mean when you're talking about investment, it's not necessarily just investment. You're also talking about kind of doling out equity, right? So your typical crowdfunding sources like don't really allow that kind of stuff like that. So with us, it's really been friends and family and just community stuff, right? So one of the things we actually have is the community investment fund where people can kind of invest money and gain equity in the company. But we have a cap on it. The cap is between $100 and $1,000. And that's actually really helped us kind of move forward and take care of the things that we need to take care of, whether it be partnerships, sponsorships, traveling, development, marketing, and different stuff like that. So like that's been one of our major things. And the community event, like we actually took the community investment fund down for like maybe a month or so, just to shift the new platform and get the beta platform up. But it's currently up right now. You can go to Noirbnb.com/invest. Kind of find out some more details about it. You can actually email us directly at investors@noirbnb.com to find out more details and kind of stay posted. But like, yeah, so that's where we are right now with that.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, so you guys, it's up and people can come to invest right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, that's noirbnb.com/invest.
Mm-hmm.
So upcoming promotions. You guys have any events coming up? Actually, I want to skip those, and I want to go straight to the ambassador program because I know we're up against your timeline, and I think that's a really important and cool thing. So talk about this ambassador program that you guys are gonna roll out.
Yeah, man. So the ambassador program, and really, man, I don't even want to rush you through. I mean, if you got a couple of questions that like we can definitely cover them and talk some more. So I mean, well, one, I mean, I'm enjoying the conversation. I love what you're doing. So you know what I mean. So yeah, man. But so as far as the ambassador program, I mean, kind of what I said before. One of my initial goals with even starting the company was to inspire Black people to travel more and see the world more and connect with each other more. I mean, like there's a misconception that a lot of Black people don't travel, and I think that's completely false. And what what we want to do is just promote the fact that, you know, we do travel. We're everywhere. We're all over the planet. We're doing a lot of great things and seeing a lot of great places. And our ambassador program is really just to highlight that, right? So whenever so say we got some Black travelers going to Brazil, you may have somebody who's living in DC who feels like, damn, well, I may never get to go to Brazil or Paris or wherever that may be, but there's kind of something in society where if you see somebody who looks like you doing something, then you almost know like, hey, well, damn, if they're doing it, I can do it too. You know what I mean? So, right. So like that's kind of our goal with that, like just to have people of color, Black people traveling the world, representing the brand, representing the company, and not only that, really dropping some education, right? So we actually had an ambassador go to Brazil. She had been there a couple of times, really highlighted some of the great places, some great people she knows, some history about the places, and like just the country of Brazil and the cities that she was in. And I think that was very valuable because like not only is it a cool thing to see on your social media, but also like, you know what, hey, I'm learning about Brazil, I'm learning about Cuba, I'm learning about Paris, I'm learning about London, I'm learning about South Africa or Jamaica or even DC, Chicago, Atlanta, like wherever people may be, like just to highlight really cool places, like those places to eat, places to go and stuff like that. So that's kind of our goal with the ambassador program.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people that you talk to that have never even left the city they were born in.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, just getting somebody to hop out and take a trip to Chicago or Atlanta, like you said, I mean, that could open up an entire new world for them.
Exactly.
Is there a particular benefit to the folks who join the ambassador program?
So with the ambassador program, kind of what we really want to roll out in the future too is like referral codes. So people who are ambassadors can kind of spread their referral codes. And anybody who signs up using that code will actually end up giving the ambassadors kind of points or like discount points for future trips and stuff like that. We're also sending out like Noirbnb T-shirts to different ambassadors, like and people who kind of get approved for the program, different stuff like that. So trip discounts, also kind of like instant access or early access to some of the features that we're planning on rolling out. Early access to news about the company, updates and stuff like that. So yeah, we have a few things planned for the ambassador program.
That's really solid, really solid. Mm-hmm. Okay, well let's go back then. Let's go back to events. What events do you have coming up? A couple of the pics you sent me are from a recent event. What was it? The Essence Fest event?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell us about that and what other events do you guys have coming up in the future?
I mean, man, we have a ridiculous list of events that we want to go to, as well as a couple of events that we're working on and that we're planning. So, Essence Fest recently, I mean, Essence Fest is actually like, I think the biggest travel event in the country for Black people. So we wanted to make sure that we were there, like to represent the brand and kind of connect with other millennials and business owners and prominent people in the community, to let them know about the brand, kind of put a face to the brand and just kind of build some more awareness. But I mean, really be like, we want to hit events around the country. So A3C, we want to go to Essence Fest. We're having another one in South Africa. We definitely want to be there. We're working on a couple of events and actually in London, a couple of events in DC and in Miami. And so I mean, like definitely just like visiting a lot of events, making sure that the brand is there and people know about it. But also, I mean, really planning our own unique and kind of immersive events around the country as well. So I mean, I almost want to give you some of the news. I can't kind of give you some of the news yet because like we're still finalizing a couple of things, but we're definitely working on a couple of major events that are going to be like really cool.
That's no issue. So one of the last questions that I have for you, you talked about the investment. You're looking to get investors, but you talked also earlier about the beta and building out your host network. So
yes.
How can people get into that beta? How can they join up as a host on Noirbnb?
Yeah, so if people want to sign up to the site, they can literally go to noirbnb.com/host. and begin the registration process right there. Sign up, get your email and phone number verified, and as soon as that process is complete, you can like log into the site, sign in, add some information about your listing, about your places, whether it be the address, add some photos and descriptions and stuff like that. And like that's essentially the entire process. I mean, it should take about maybe 5 to 10 minutes. And yeah, so really our goal right now is to make sure that we have as many hosts and properties and listings up on the site as possible. Over the past like week, there was actually a major issue around discrimination and racism on Airbnb. A user was in Amsterdam, and the host was a white dude from the Netherlands, and actually threw this black woman completely down an entire flight of stairs, which was, I mean, some of the most disgusting stuff I'd ever seen in my life.
Wow.
Yeah, it was incredible, man. It was super duper sad to see it, and really made the entire team angry. So we said, you know what, we'll look, right. If we want to actually be a true alternative and provide a space where people can travel, we're gonna need as many properties and listings as possible, so people can actually get on the site as soon as possible and find a really dope place to stay, man. So like that's our primary focus right now, just finding as many hosts and properties around the country and around the world, of course. So yeah, definitely.
Are there any particular types of properties that you know, if people had and say, hey, I want to host, are there any types of locations or properties that would probably fare best on there, or that people, locations, wherever it is that you're looking for?
We actually have a target market of a few cities around the country and around the world. But I mean, to be completely honest, man, we want properties and different kinds of properties all over the country and all over the world, right? So I mean, whether it be an apartment, whether it be a condo, whether it be a house, a townhouse, whatever, a boat with a really nice place. I mean, look, if you have a dope place that's clean and up to par, then we would love to have you on the site, noirbnb.com/host. We would love to have you.
Okay, awesome. And then, so last thing, tell us all the contacts, right? Your social media. We've already got the website, email. What are all the different ways that folks in the audience can reach out, either to become a host, to invest, or once you have the full launch, to actually go out and book on Noirbnb?
Yeah, man. So I mean, if you want to reach out to us on Twitter, it's just at Noirbnb, NOIRBNB. Facebook.com/Noirbnb. That's our Facebook page, and we actually handle a lot of customer service inquiries right there. You can email us directly, info@Noirbnb. If you have any problems on the site, you can email us at support@Noirbnb. If you want to invest in the company and find out some more details, investors@Noirbnb. If you want to be an investor, you can actually sign up not an investor. If you want to be an ambassador, you can sign up at Noirbnb.com/ambassadors, or email us directly at ambassadors@Noirbnb. If you're going to reach out to me, my Twitter is just StefIsDOPE, StefIsDOPE, and the dope stands for driven on positive energy. It's all I'm about. Facebook, same thing. And yeah, man, like that. Yeah, that should be all the contacts right there.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So that brings us down to the very last question I have. I always want to end my show this way. In order for us to be able to continue to buy black, we got to have more men and women out there just like you, seeing problems, seeing openings in the market, and then deciding to solve that problem. So with that, what's your number one piece of advice for the black community, either as entrepreneurs or as consumers?
Oh, man, I would say most definitely, like you said, if you see a problem, solve it. I mean, as we've known for a long time, like no one outside of our community is going to solve our problems for us. It's just not going to happen. Although some may come across as empathetic and they get it and da. A lot of the time, it's just not the case. I mean, I'd say if you see a problem in the community, don't just complain about it, right? If you're angry about it, let that anger motivate you to create something great, to solve that problem and do something awesome. And as far as being a consumer, man, look, the way a lot of other communities work is, look, if somebody in their community provides a service, they're not going to anybody else but them for it, right? And that helps to really just create an entire economy, whether people realize it or not. So I mean, look, if you can support a black restaurant, clothing brand, a platform such as ours, a media outlet, do it, man, because at the end of the day, that benefits you whether you know it or not. You know what I mean? I think you actually mentioned it before, just about, bringing down the unemployment rate. But I was actually watching a movie last night called The Big Short, and they said that, look, for every % that the unemployment rate rises, 40,000 people die, right? And and I hadn't thought about that, but I'm like, like that's kind of crazy, right? So I mean, oftentimes we say Black Lives Matter. If Black lives truly matter, then we need to put money in our community so that our children, our women, our men, all have opportunities to work for ourselves, work with each other, hire each other, feed each other, support each other. Because I mean, at the end of the day, that's what helps to facilitate and protect Black life. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, that's good.
That is powerful. I didn't remember that from The Big Short, but when you think about that, and then you think about the fact that our unemployment rate is ridiculous. 3 times what everybody else is in, I mean, that ties, it connects
directly. Wow. For sure.
So with that, I really want to appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy. I know you got a busy schedule. I do have to plug real quick because you just said it. So the buzz that you guys have put out and the size of your audience to me is awesome. You and I have talked. I started this thing literally just from an idea out of my head about 2 months ago, and just went straight and launched it. But I would love it if you would help me promote this show.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Your audience knows, like, hey, come find me on Buy Black, because that would help me grow and again get more people on here, more different guests who can go out and show the audience, hey, there are folks in your community who are providing this product, this service. And just like you said, once you know about them, the next step is just get out and go patronize those businesses.
For sure.
It's really easy. It's real simple. So, hey, I appreciate you taking the time to come out. I appreciate you sharing with your audience that this podcast is out here and that we're helping you promote. And hopefully that's going to help us get a much wider audience and get many more of our brothers and sisters who have their own businesses to be able to come on the show and get the same type of exposure. But Stef, I can't thank you enough, man. I know we've hit and missed across the time, but linked up today, and it was awesome. You brought the goods, man, and I thank you so much.
Hey, man, thank you. I appreciate you, man. And most, I mean, like just let me know whatever information you want me to like let people know, whether about the show, whether about our show, the interview, or your show. I'm down to make it happen, man. One hand wash the other, both wash their face, man. So let's make it happen.
Absolutely. All right. Well, hey, I'll let you get back to it, man. Thanks so much.
All right, you're welcome. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation with Stef about Noirbnb. I wanted to follow up just by sharing with you a couple of snippets from articles that have just hit the news in the last couple of days that highlight what Stef is talking about and the reason why we still need to have businesses out there like this. So the first article is from the Washington Post. It was released July 14th. It was written by Amy Wang, and the headline is Airbnb host who stranded guests because of race ordered to take class in Asian American Studies. So here's a little bit from that article. The California Department of Fair Employment and Housing said Wednesday it had reached an agreement with the host identified by her attorney as Tammy Barker and with Diane Su, a law student at the University of California at Los Angeles, who made a February reservation at Barker's mountain cabin through Airbnb. In an April interview with the Washington Post, Sue said she and her fiancé had booked Barker's listing, described as a treehouse loft and private bathroom in Running Springs, California, about a month before their trip. They had been looking forward to a short President's Day weekend vacation in Big Bear Lake, a popular ski getaway about 2 hours by car east of Los Angeles. Sue later messaged Barker to ask if she could add 2 friends and 2 puppies to the reservation and was told it would be fine. The Post corroborated Sue's account with images of their full conversations through text messages and the Airbnb app. On February 17th, the group of 4 set up to the mountain. An intense winter storm was then hitting the area, making road conditions hazardous and prompting flash flood warnings. Sue said that they were minutes away from the cabin when she sent a message to Barker through the Airbnb app to let her know they were close and asked how they might pay for adding the 2 friends to the reservation. That's when their trip took a turn. If you think 4 people and 2 dogs are getting a room for $50 a night on Big Bear Mountain during the busiest weekend of the year, you are insanely high, Barker texted her, according to Sue's images of the exchange. The host also called Sue a con artist and canceled the reservation. Sue said she was shocked, then protested, telling Barker she had saved their earlier messages showing she had agreed to the reservation changes. Go ahead. I wouldn't rent to you if you were the last person on earth, Barker wrote back to Sue. One word says it all. Asian. When Sue replied that she would report the host to Airbnb for being racist, the host told her to go ahead. And it's why we have a name that I'm not going to say, but let's just say President number 45. This is what this host told her. I will not allow this country to be told what to do by foreigners, the host added. So this is just one example of traveling as a minority and the things that we have to face. And another example, Steph actually brought up in the call, and I wanted to pull it up. So this is coming from Huffington Post. It was posted on the 13th, just a couple of days ago. This one says, Amsterdam Airbnb host accused of pushing South African downstairs is arrested. He was actually arrested on attempted murder charges. So I'll read a little bit from this story as well. An Airbnb host in Amsterdam accused of pushing a guest down a flight of stairs for missing her checkout time faces attempted murder charges. Video of the confrontation went viral after the guest's friend, Zanil Muholi, a popular South African artist and activist, posted it on Instagram on Saturday. The video shows the host, a white male, telling a South African filmmaker and student in Bern, Switzerland, to get out of his rental property. The host then pushes Kumbi, sending her head first down a long staircase. She lands at the bottom, face down and motionless. He threw their belongings out for a few minutes late checkout. So here we have two examples just within the last few months. One of them back in February, the other one just a couple of days ago, of people of color, people who are considered minorities, trying to travel, trying to experience the world the same way that every other person does. But when we travel, we are in danger. Just by nature of who we are, it's a dangerous place. There's nothing right about that. There's nothing you should be able to just overlook about that and say, well, it's just the way that it is. It's their house. They can choose who they want to rent to or not. Absolutely true. But are we saying that it's absolutely okay for racism to still exist in 2017 to the point where somebody would say, everything being equal, I'm just not going to allow you to do what I will allow somebody else to do because of the color of your skin? Is that really still cool? Is that really okay? And beyond that, it's not a matter of, I don't want you in my house. It's, I'm going to cause physical harm to you because having to deal with you is making me angry. I have animosity building up in me because I'm sharing space with you. That's the kind of hatred that still exists towards people of color today. That's why businesses like Noirbnb, that's why shows like this podcast still have to exist, because even though people try to claim there's no racism, racism would go away if you guys would just stop talking about it. Every time we turn around, we're reminded that's just not true. We're reminded that if I don't encourage you to buy from a black-owned business, you're probably going to avoid it, even though you would never say that. If I don't encourage you to treat people of minorities fairly in the marketplace and call you out when you don't do it, then you won't do it. The racism is still there. It still exists, and it's still tangible. It still affects people's lives. It still gets people thrown down a flight of stairs, potentially killed, all because somebody looks at you and they don't like the color of your skin, your facial features. It's real. In 2017, it's still real, which is why we have this show, which is why we have businesses like Noirbnb. At some point, we have to just stop sitting back and taking it. We have to take matters into our own hands and say, if you aren't going to include us, then we will create our own. You're welcome to come over here, but we're done begging you for a seat at your table. But with that, I will jump off my soapbox. I really appreciate you guys listening, and stay tuned later on this week. I'm actually going to do a little bit more of a deep dive. I'm going to see if I can find a few stories for you guys. And then later this week, we're going to talk more about the Green Book that was put together between the 1930s and the 1970s, and talk about that history, traveling while black in the United States. It was fascinating to me what Steph was talking about, and I want to explore it a little bit more, and I hope you guys join me for that conversation. That's all I got for today. I really appreciate you guys sticking around to the end. I'm still going to say, if you can go over to iTunes, if you can go over to Stitcher, leave us a 5-star rating and review. It absolutely helps. And please tell your friends, tell your family. It doesn't matter what color they are. If there's anything that you got from today's show, you should see this is education and information that's good for everybody. Supporting the black community and the black economy is good for everybody. Tell your friends, tell your family, point them towards the show. I would love to have this audience grow with people from all races. Because again, I'm not begging for a seat at the table anymore, but you are absolutely welcome to come over and sit at mine. Thank you for being part of the Buy Black podcast community. If you've enjoyed today's show, find us in iTunes or Stitcher to leave a 5-star rating and review. Join us next time for another empowering episode. If you're a black business owner anywhere in the world, I want to help you connect with more of your target customers. To get your business in our online directory and find out if you qualify to be featured on the show, send us an email at connect@buyblackpodcast.com, or you can reach me, Gerald Jones, directly at gjones@buyblackpodcast.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.